Okay, Rabbi say we're holding Simin Shimem Gimel. Shimem Gimel Sivav. Okay. Last week we spoke that we have to keep in mind when we're dealing with a cotton, there are two issues that have to be taken care of. Number one, there is an issue of chinuch. You have to mechanech a child in chinuch and mitzvah essay, mitzvah essay, derabanan, deraisa. However, the mitzvah chinuch is only on the father. Other people don't have to mechanech the child.
The mother doesn't have a chiyuv.
Even the mother doesn't have a chiyuv. So the chiyuv is limited only to the father. What?
You get scar if you do it.
Right? But the chiyuv is only in the father. Another thing, another limitation of the mitzvah chinuch. Chinuch is only when the child is higiyah l'chinuch, when the age that he reaches chinuch. Now, Alter Rebbe explains that when it comes to a mitzvah essay and a lois essay, it's at different times. When it comes to a mitzvah essay, it's when the child reaches the age that he can understand that mitzvah. Each specific mitzvah according to that age. However, when it comes to a mitzvah lois essay, as soon as he understands that this is usher to do,
even if you don't understand, but you told him not to do,
and
you mechanech him to.
Right, he's able to understand that this is something he shouldn't do.
That's it.
He doesn't have to understand all the ideas behind it. So it's a lower age, and that's called bar havana. When he's a bar havana, then you have to mechanech him a and when he's
that's also the father only.
Again, only the father. So Lamaisa, there's two things to remember. The mitzvah chinuch is only in the father. Number two, the mitzvah of chinuch is only when he gil the chinuch. Each mitzvah at its time. However, there's another issue you have to deal with Ketanim, and that is applicable to all of Klal Yisrael. Not only the father, and it's also a negay at all ages, even when it's below the age of Chinuch. It doesn't have both the limitations that Chinuch has. Chinuch is only the father, this is for everyone. Chinuch is only when they reach an age that you can mechanech them. This is at all ages. Another difference, chinuch is derabanan, chiyuv derabanan, and this issue is the issue of deraisa. What is the issue? The issue is loy soichlum. The Torah says loy soichlum ki shekesim lachem. You shouldn't eat the shratzim. However, we already know that from other psukim. So this pasuk is coming to teach us loy sachilum. You should not feed adults. Gedolim should not feed the ketanim shratzim. Lahazir gedolim ala ketanim. The Gemara brings that there are psukim also by dam and by tuma. Emer v'amarta is said twice. Not emer lakahanim is one time, and the v'amarta teaches us the second time lahazir gedolim ala ketanim, that the koyanim have to. We have to make sure that the children of the koyanim, we're not allowed to mitama them. So the issue of lahazir gedolim ala ketanim is the issue of Isachilum. You're not allowed to give a cotton something which is asr. You're not allowed to be what's called svia. You're not allowed to be soy for him, be yadayim, give it to him with your hands, into his hands something which is asr to do. So although I don't have, if I see him doing something on his own, not for me, not for another gadol, just he does it on his, for his own hanoas atzma. If he turns on the light because he wants the light on,
and you have an obligation to tell him stop.
You don't have to tell him to stop. The father does if it's yigiyah l'chinuch.
No, we're talking about the four.
But if it's another father,
doesn't have to say anything.
another gadol, whether it's a woman or a man, whether he yigiyah l'chinuch, whether lo yigiyah l'chinuch, doesn't make a difference. You don't have to stop the child. The father will only be below the age of chinuch, but by everyone else, it's even above the age of chinuch. Katan oichol nevelis, the Gemara says, someone sees a child eating a nevela, ein bezim mitzvah nafrishi. We don't have to stop him from eating the nevela. That's only a child underneath the age of chinuch. After the age of chinuch, the father would be, but no one else would be. So the issue of lois achilum is when he does it not on his own, but he does it because he's doing it for the adult. The adult asks him to do it, tells him to do it for him, or the adult gives it to him to do it, or he does it on his own for the adult. He on his own goes to do something for the adult. We have a chiv to stop him through Meicha. That is because it's an issue of lois achilum, and lois achilum is an issur min HaTorah. Now, there is a machlokes in Paskin whether lois achilum applies to an issur midrabanan. So the ikar sheet is a sheet of the Rambam. The Rambam holds that yes, lois achilum is not only by an issur deraisa, but Chazal enforced the issur of lois achilum also by a derabanan. And by the way, it's not only by an issur of machalas asuris of shatzim. By all issur min HaTorah,
Derabanan.
Midaraisa
we said.
Min HaTorah, all issur min HaTorah. But the machlokes, the Rambam and the Rashba is the Rambam held.
Derabanan also.
It also the Chazal asked also on any derabanans. You're not allowed to give a child to do an issur midrabanan. However, the Rashba held that the Rabbanan is different. Le'himidu divrayim eitzel ktaneim. The Torah did not, Chazal did not enforce the rule of the mitzvah of lois achilum by the Rabbanan. However, even then, the Rashba has some conditions, and it's not in all situations you're allowed to have a katan do an issur Rabbanan. And we're going to learn tonight a few of the dinim. We one time spoke about this, but now we're going through the whole inyan properly. So we'll go over again the shita of the Rashba. And the shita of the Rashba is negeya, even though the ikar is like the Rambam, because the Alter Rebbe says, and other poskim say that if there's a tzorich, there's a necessity, one can rely on the shita of the Rashba. So it's important to know. It's important to know when the Rashba was mekel. So we'll let Hashem see tonight. Sivav.
What's in it?
Siman Shimem Gimel. Page Tafrei Samach. Sivav. I'm just going to go back to read the sheet of the Rambam inside, how the Alter Rebbe brings it, and then we'll go back to Sivav. In the beginning of Sif Hey, the first line is Sif Hey. I don't have to stop him when he does an Isser. Beginning of Sivav. To actually go and feed an Isser, anything Asr, to a katan, Asr l'chol adam, it's not only for the father, it's also for any gadol, min HaTorah, afilu eine bar havana klal. Even if he's not a bar havana at all, he has no understanding. Shenemar loy soichlum, or pirush chacham loy sachim lektanim. There's an issur min HaTorah to feed sai for all adults, not only the father, and also any age. It's nothing to do with chinuch. It's nothing to do with chinuch. It's an issur of loy sachilum. You're not allowed to give a katan to do an issur. Now he adds in a line, which this line is only according to the sheet of the Rambam. Even if it's also only midrabanan, it's also because it's bishalakum, whatever it is, or some other issur. It doesn't have to be something about machalis issur, something you eat. Any other thing which is also midrabanan, it's also to give it to him. It's alois achilam. Afil tzar, even though the child needs it.
Doesn't mean he needs it.
Not a pekuach nefesh.
He's hungry.
Not a pekuach nefesh, but
he's hungry.
Yeah. Let's say sivav now. V'yeshoim, jump to sivav. Shekol shul tzar keshel tinik. There are those that say this is the shita of the Rashba and the Ran, that anything which is a tzorich for the tinik, it's for the necessity of the tinik, kegoyim. Achilo v'shiyah, the tinik wants to eat or drink, le'gaz or beichachamim klal. Chazal were not goyzer at all by a cotton. Amutal achilo b'yadayim kol davar shenisum d'risoyfim. you're allowed to go and give him anything, which if it's also midrabanan. In tzarech lakach, if he needs it. Afa pishi gil l'chinuch, even though he reached the age of chinuch.
So even a chicken cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Rabban.
Avol im einei tzarech lakach. If he doesn't need it, also lachile afilena barabana. Also to give it to him, even though he has no understanding. He's 1 year old, you can't give it to him. Afilu, let's skip the parentheses for a minute. Afilu be'issa b'divrei seifrim. Even if it's also b'derabanan, it has to be a tzarech, not stam. It's not stam. The Rashba didn't hold. Oh, the Rabbanan, there's no issue at all. There's no issa leisachil. No, if there's a tzarech, then Chazal were mekel. Chazal that we're not makbid by a Rabbanan by leisachilim so much. If there's a tzarech, you can push it away, but not for no reason. Not stam for no reason. Oh, the kid wants to have a cheeseburger. No. Because there's something why the child would need to have that specifically.
The Rashba said what's it tzorich, what's it not tzorich?
Here's an example. Yeah, here's an example. Here's one of the examples the Rashba brings in his tshuva. The Rashba writes this, by the way, in close to 10 places in his farm, his sheet of his. It's all around Shas, and he has 3 tshuvas about it. Besides for in his chidushim. She'asla hanike chalev imay achachat al chodesh. Apishin isa chalev isham dev sefer. A child, the baby nurses, the child nurses. The typical time in the times of Chazal, a child nursed was 24 months. After 24 months, if the child continues to nurse, we allow him to continue to nurse. But if he's weaned him off, then we don't allow him to go back to the mother to nurse again.
Why?
Because now already he's weaned off, we don't want him to. There is an isser, there's an isser to nurse. If you don't need to, there's an issa to nurse directly from mother. The milk is kosher milk, right? Nothing wrong with the milk. But to nurse directly from the breast is considered kiyonik sheketz. It's considered a te'eva. It's not something appropriate. So therefore, when the child needs it, and so then he can go till 4 or 5. He can go straight. But if he stops and he goes for a while, he's weaned off, he doesn't need it anymore. He just wants to have a little drink. No, you got to drink in a cup. You're ready. So the mother can put it into a cup for him, but he can't drink directly from the mother. So the chalevish is only isma derabanan. So why would Chazal tell us it's also to feed the child? If the Rashba held that it is derabanan, you're allowed to feed a tinnik because there's no Isser loisachilum by the Rabbanan. Why can't you give the chalevisha after chaftal chodesh 24 months and he's weaned off? So he says, Hoyil ve'eni tzarech le'achar chaftalid. Tapa tafrei samachal. Since he doesn't need it after 24 months, the child is after 24 months and he's weaned off. By the way, if before 24 months, before 2 years, the child stops drinking the mother's milk and then wants to come back and drink the mother's milk, he could. Even though because since it's within the 24 months, even though the child stopped, the child could come back. After 24 months, if the child stopped and is weaned off, then we don't let the child come back. Because it's not necessary. What does the child need it for? So only when there's a tzarech, proves the Rashba, would we allow to be matter and issa d'Rabbanan. So what's that sheet of the Rashba? 1 second. What should we do? What's the halacha like? We have the Rambam, who we mentioned up until Sivav, where we mentioned the sheet of the Rambam, and now the sheet of the Rashba. So says the Alter Rebbe, "V'yishlismech al divreim lahaka b'direi seifrim." Heyois that we're dealing here with a shayla b'drabanan. The whole issue over here is a lois achil b'drabanan. So we're makel by a drabanan in mitzarach l'kach. Heyois, the whole shayla is a shayla drabanan. So we have a shayla drabanan, we have a machloikis. So we're makel. When? If he needs it. You don't have a goy. It's always better to have a goy give it to the tinnik. So if you have a goy to do it, you shouldn't use the tinnik. Right? Let's say, let's give an example. It could happen in a...
It's a divrei sefer and it's a goy.
Yeah, let's talk about an Issa D'Rabbanan. We one time spoke about it. It's not something to do on a daily basis, but it could happen in someone's house. By accident, the child's bedroom light was left on, let's say. So the child's not going to be able to sleep with the light on, and there's no other room for the child to sleep. You don't have another place for the child to sleep. So it's a tzairich. It's a tzairich. So you can call on a guy to turn off the light. Turning off a light is a derabanan, because kibui, extinguishing fire, is a malacha. In most cases, a malacha she'enet tzricha legufa, because you don't need. There's no coals here. You don't need the coals. It's a malacha which is not necessary for it itself. So that has a status of being a isma derabanan. So you're asking the guy to do an isma derabanan, l'tzairich. It's a tzairich for the tinnik. So you can have the guy come and do it. However, if you don't have a guy, you'd be allowed to go and tell the child to go turn it off. Tell the child to go turn it off. Why? You're dealing here with an isma derabanan. There is a tzairich. If there's Issa D'Rabbanan, there's that Sayrach, according to the Rashba, you're allowed to do it. However, you have to first go to the option of a guy. You're not supposed to first have the child doing it. The best option one is a guy. So a person first has to try to get a Shabbos guy. If he's in a place, he's in Bnei Brak, or whatever he is, and there's not a Shabbos goyim, so then you have an issue. So then such a situation. It's obviously better to take a child that's underneath the age of chinuch. By the point of the Rashba, it's even a child the age of chinuch. They mentioned in the third line, it's Sivav, Af Bishakil chinuch. The heter of the Rashba is there's no Isalei Sachil and Isad Rabbanan, even if the child is Gil chinuch. A lot of the Rishonim disagree with the Rashba. He's not like he's the main Shita. But still, we're dealing here with a Shail with the Rabbanan. The Alter Rebbe is Mekel, if you have a Tzairich and there's no Nachri, to rely on the Rashba. We'll see another condition soon. You wanted to ask something?
Yeah, from what I've heard, that today children don't nurse for 24 months anymore.
No.
Mine did. My daughter.
First of all, there are some that do, but you're right. It's not so many. There are some that do. I said it's only in the times of Chazal. Today you don't really have it as much. But the Isser applies only after 24 months. There's no change in we're not going to Asser underneath 24 because I'll never Asser it. Now, still in all, we're not finished yet. There's still some more conditions when we can rely on the Rashba. There's another issue here. Eina Chanami, there's no issue of Leis Achilum. There's no issue of Leis Achilum. However, there's another Isser in Gemara called Shema Yisrach. I'll see the mitzvah. Chazal say when an adult asks a child to do something, so the child can feel, if an adult asks me to do this, it's okay to do, and he can repeat this when he's an adult. So therefore, you can only do this on a temporary basis. This is not something that can be done and something which happens often. This can't be something which is done constantly. So it has to be done by akroi. When it's done by akroi, it's done in the Oifen Arai, so then there won't be a Shailo Shema Yisrach, because the child won't, it's not something that's always done, it's not a Kvias. Even if Tinnik doesn't need it. On Shuldik, before I go further, I made one mistake. It wasn't clear. Till now we're dealing with a need of a child. The Rashba was matir if it's a tzoirich of the Tinnik. The Tinnik wants to be oichel, shoyse, or the light in the child's room.
How old is the Tinnik? Chinuch or no?
He could even be Gil Chinuch. But if he's a Gil Chinuch, by the way, the father wouldn't be allowed to have him do it. The father has a Chi of Chinuch.
The mother, yes.
The mother could do it, yeah.
We learned that last time. Is there Ikil Misrach when the child is...
If the father's not in the home, the father knows about it, he has to stop it.
Is there such a thing as Misrach? The kid is a toddler? He's not going to know anything.
No, if he's very young,
There's no Misrach. This is not.
It's probably not, no. If he's very young. If he's mamish not abar havana.
Right.
Not 3 years old, let's say, something like that.
That's all the age of recollection is starts at 3, 4.
Right. So if he's very young, I don't know where the line is, but he's very young, then there's not going to be an issue of Asil Mitzrach. However, the Rashba goes further. This is all when the Tinnik needs. When the Tinnik needs it, by the way, you don't have to do back Kroi. This condition that you can only do it temporary, on a temporary basis, is not when it's tzarich of the tinnik. When it's a tzarich of the tinnik, you can do it as many times as necessary. because the tinnik understands it's for his needs. We're always, the tinnik, you do things for a child, it's for the child. It says, I was a child, so that's why you did it for me. The problem comes when you do something for the adult. You're not doing it for the child's sake. The Alter Rebbe continues on now. The Rashba says you can even do an Issa D'Rabbanan for a Gadol, for a tzarech of the Gadol. Not only tzarech of the tinnik, even for tzarech of the Gadol. The adult needs something. The adult needs a light on in his room. A light off in his room, let's say. The adult needs something to, or he either, the Erev came down, and they need to get something, and we're talking with an area which is a Carmel. This is not a Rosh Hashanah, which is Lav Dafka in Brooklyn. So let's talk about upstate, something like that. There's no Shishim Ribi, 600,000 people, like most cities in the United States.
And you want the key to do the...
And you need a key or something like that. So it's an Issa D'Rabbanan. Or you need a siddur, and you're in the siddur, you're in the bungalow, you need a siddur and a chumash, and the Erev came down. So it's an Issa D'Rabbanan. So L'maisa, it's a tzorich of the Gadol now. Says the Rashba, even for the tzorich of the Gadol, you're allowed. However, when you're doing it for a Gadol, now the child thinks, oh, it's okay to do this. Because adult, he's not doing it, I'm not doing it for myself, for my needs, it's for the Gadol's needs. So therefore, you have to bavarn, there shouldn't be an Asir the Misrach. The Asir the Misrach is only an issue when you're doing a L'tzorich the Gadol. When you're doing a L'tzorich the Katan, there's no Asir the Misrach.
What's the kiddush of the Rambam?
The Rambam held no, and Issa D'Rabbanan you never matter for the Katan. You never matter a Katan to Issa D'Rabbanan, not even for his own tzorich. The Rashba came along and said, "Sai for the tzorich of the tinnik, and sai for the tzorich of the Gadol."
As long as there's no asur,
you're allowed to have the tinnik do it. When it comes to the tzorich of the Katan, there's no asur b'misrach issue. But when it comes, you're asking him to do something for the Gadol, there can be an asur b'misrach issue. Therefore, it can only be akroi. He's going to give an example of it soon. Now that's the chiddush in the third line, Tafei Samachal. Even furthermore, says the Rashba, even if it's not for the tzorich of a child, the adult needs it. She asli tinik eza davar. Awesome to be sorry from the adult needs that the child should do something which is awesome midrabanan for him. Ein iser lefi svarazu, based on the svar of the Rashba. There's no iser litnei loy to give it to the child. She has you should do it for him. Ella, when would there be an iser? Kishanais of the kviyas tada, you're giving it to him on a constant basis. Sheish lachush is concerned. Shemi yisragal atinik. The child become accustomed, v'yisrach, become used to b'asiyas davar zeh, v'yavel asoy selch shishik, they'll do it when he's older. Avo kishanais of ba'kroi ba'alma, you gotta stop and give it to him once in a blue moon. Ein lachush lekach.
for an adult, but there's no
adult. And then he adds in, right, if it's a tzarech of the tinnik, the first half of the sif, you don't need to do it by kroi. Tinnik needs it, the tinnik needs it. It can happen as often as it needs. It's a tzarech of a tinnik.
Because it's a tzarech of the tinnik, or because the akroi doesn't exist if it's for himself.
No.
It's not the misrach doesn't exist.
There's no misrach. There's no shash of the misrach.
He knows it's for him.
Exactly. But he adds in another condition. When you're doing it for the gadol, there's another issue here. Now I'm having a katan do something. It's like I'm not allowed to have a goy do something for me. I'm not allowed to have a child do something for me. So the only time you're allowed to ask a goy to do for you an Issa D'Rabbanan is when it's a tzarech mitzvah, tzarech gadol, hefse meruba. Same thing over here. You want the tinnik to do something for you in Issa D'Rabbanan? Okay. However, it should be tzarech mitzvah. That's what he adds in rak. Should be in mashein by Isser shemasha Isser b'shvili. There shouldn't be any. It shouldn't be also why that he's doing it for you. Getting the tzarech mitzvah. Tzarech mitzvah.
What is that?
Lefichach. Let's give an example. The example is kiddush bebeis hakneses in the shuls, in the Ashkenaz shuls, and the way it was in times of Chazal. Chazal instituted to make kiddush. The chazan should make kiddush after davening Ma'ariv, Leil Shabbos, to be moitzi the orchim, the guests that came to shul, and they used to stay and sleep in the rooms around the shul. So they make kiddush there. Someone made kiddush for them. The orchim didn't have wine; they didn't bring wine with them, so the kehillah should make kiddush for them. However, now there is no orchim there, so there is no orchim. The tam went away, and therefore a lot of kehillas don't do it anymore. It's a machlokes rishonim whether we should continue the minig or not. And the minig Ashkenaz is strictly that you should continue it. The Sfardim held that you mevatel it, and the Ashkenazim held you should continue the minig.
Rama says yes.
The Mas says yeah, to continue the minig. So the Maise is who are we going to give the birchas, the Bayer Priyagaf? We have an issue over here. Mele birchas kiddush. Chazal said you have to make a birchas kiddush as part of the takana. Bayer Priyagaf, and who's going to drink? Who's drinking the cup? There's no archim here to drink from it. The Chazan himself is not being yoitza with it because there's no kiddush makam suda. He's not having a suda here in shul. So the kiddush is mamish a kiddush only mitzvah takana. No one is being yoitza with this kiddush.
So one they bring the zaynis, like the kiddush in the day.
Okay, but there was no there minig was there was no mazayin. It's a good option, but the minig was no mazayin. So what's the heter? So they used to give it to drink to a child. Give it to a cotton to drink. There's no cotton you allow the gadol to drink. You're allowed to allow the gadol to drink because it's a takana and everything, but l'chatchila, you're supposed to give it to a cotton. The shaila is, however, how can I give it to the cotton? Ein a chanami, it's an issa midrabanan to eat the drink before kiddush, because it's not a real kiddush. The cotton's not yoitz of it. So you're telling the cotton to drink before kiddush. So the cotton's being over, you're giving him to wine to drink before kiddush.
So
he doesn't need to drink wine, he's not thirsty, you don't give a cotton.
And it's not adai, and it's not for himself, it's for
Eminut. So the Maise, it's a Issa, let's start off the beginning. It's a Issa Midrabanan, right? The Rashba says you're allowed to do Issa Midrabanan. But is it Tzarech to the Tinnik? It's not a Tzarech of the Tinnik, it's Tzarech of the Gadol.
So it makes it worse.
Tzarech of the Gadol is mutter when you have two Heterim. It's Bakroi.
It's not.
And it has to be Tzarech Mitzvah. Over here it's a Tzarech Mitzvah. Because I need it for the Mitzvah, the Takon of Kiddush. However, what about the fact of Bakroi? So the times of the Alter Rebbe and the times of the Rashba wrote his tshuva, it's all based on the tshuva of the Rashba, there still were some times guests came to shul. So therefore it didn't always happen the Tinnik had to drink. So therefore that was considered Bakroi.
Oh.
Let's take a look inside. So this is an example. Lefichach, therefore, 6 lines to the ending of Sifvav. You're allowed to give a tinnik shigil chinuch. You got to use a tinnik shigil chinuch, by the way, because otherwise you're not being yoy to the Bayer Piragafen. If it's a little child, it has to be a cotton who reached the age of chinuch of brachas, knows what a bracha is, able to make brachas. Such a child, that's the child you should give it. Now you should not give it to a 2-year-old.
But he couldn't be yoy to a guest because he's a cotton.
If there's a guest there, the guest is eating a suda in the shul, so it's mamish kiddush makam suda. It's not a problem.
But then you have to push aside the cotton and go with the gadol already.
Sure, the gadol drinks it. If the gadol's there, then if the gadol,
it's just the drinking, the bracha also.
No,
the cotton saying the bracha.
No, the gadol says the bracha and everything, but the Bayer Piragav is going to be for. He made a Bayer Piragav for the cotton.
It used to be the chazan go ahead and finish davening and make it for everybody.
So he made
a Bayer Piragav.
He makes a Bayer.
Yeah.
But Shmulek, he's making a Bayer Piragav and he's not drinking. He's giving like a Tisha B'av situation. He's giving the noise.
Yeah.
He's giving the.
Motel lahatem latinik sheigil lechinuch mikoi shot kiddush shemekach beis hakneses afa b'shatinik and itzor kalati mazud. It's an example where it's not a tzarech of the tinnik at all. He doesn't need to taste this wine. He can wait for kiddush at home. His father's at home going to make kiddush for him. He doesn't need to drink over here. Since the isra of tasting before kiddush is only midrabanan, we have a tzarich in it. It's a tzarich mitzvah. The only reason we should answer it is because maybe the tinnik will come accustomed to think it's okay to eat before kiddush. This we should not be concerned for. We don't give them every single week to drink. There's sometimes our guests which are eating in the shul. They hear the kiddush from their rooms. You give it to them to drink, and you don't need to give to the tinaikas.
Wow. So there's a problem now.
So then nowadays, when there's no guest at all, so it becomes an issue. What's the heter that they give it? And we had a gentleman here the other week, and he said he was the person, he was the child.
Oh, what the Gottlieb?
Yeah, he said when he was in shul, in Borough Park, in a certain shul there, every single week he was the tinnik sheigil lechinuch, which they gave him the wine. They did it every week. There was never archim. They didn't let anyone sleep on the benches there. There was no archim. So
They had a policy enough against it.
the emes is azoi.
So what's it doing?
The Magen Avraham says himself other heterim. This is one of the heterim, but there's other heterim to allow the tinnik to drink. So when we have no choice, even a god is allowed to drink. If there will be no children in shul, a lot of times at night there's no children. Ma'ariv, a late night ma'ariv in shul, there's no children. If there's no children around, even a god is allowed to drink.
Take this simple
For this inyan of the takon of kiddush, we have no choice. We're makel. So
take it simple from what's a Shabbos on 9 days. You're not allowed to make Avdol and wine. You have no choice. A Godel could make and drink.
yeah, it's different dinim, but yeah, example. So the Maisa, so therefore those shuls can still be makel, even though it's bekviyas. But the ikar really, the real heter, the straightforward heter is the heter which it says here. It's only when it's back kroy. In Siv Zayin, he explains this whole. When does it have to be back kroy? We spoke this out loud. Shamachil isilatinik l'tzarkenu. Only when we're giving something asim d'Rabbanan to the child to do for our needs. They didn't
know what cake was in those days.
Anytime we're doing something, we're having the child do something for his own needs, we're not concerned that maybe he'll grow older and do this when he's an adult, when he's bar mitzvah. He'll understand, because I'm a child, that's why they're being makel for me. He's not going to go make a mistake and do it when he's an adult. Therefore, how do we give a child to eat before kiddush? The child's hungry. We don't starve the child. He's allowed to eat before kiddush. And also to drink. If he wants to drink, he wants to eat. But also, not only is it you're allowed to, but it's also to be machmer and to starve him.
You can make him a kiddush?
That's a nice thing to do, make a kiddush.
Yeah. A lot of kids want to eat and his father make a kiddush.
Yeah, but even if he did it, if for some reason he doesn't want to make kiddush, you have to give him the food. So the mice is when you're giving it for him, it could be every single week he wants to eat before kiddush, right? He wants to eat kiddush every year. Fine, it could be every week. It doesn't have to be back kroy. Because when it's tzorich of the tinnik understands that's for me because I'm only a child. That's what they're doing it for me. The whole tanai, the condition that has to be back kroy on a temporary basis, is only when he's doing it. You're asking the child to do something for you, like kiddush and shul. He doesn't need to drink from there. He's not asking to drink. You don't want to give him the wine. It's not food. It's just a taste. It's only there for our tzorich. Tzorich of the gedolim. Then it should be. Okay, so that's it for this inyan. Now on, we're going to have another heter, a different type of heter for Niyanim. But so we're finished with this sugya, Misakim, and we'll go on. Maybe we'll hopefully finish tonight. There is an Machloikis, Rambam, and the Rashba. Those are there are other Rishonim of all, but these are the Ikar Shitas. Whether or not the Isser of Lois Achilum, the Isser that you're now allowed min ha-Torah, it's an Isser min ha-Torah, lahazar g'dim al-katanim, for any adult, man or woman, doesn't have to be the parents, to go and feed an Isser to any child, no matter what age. There's a machloikis between the Rashba and the Rambam if that applies to an Isser midrabanan. We're chazal machmer with this Isser Lois Achilum even by Isuri derabanan. The Rambam saying yes, and that's the halacha and Shulchan Aruch, the Mechaber and the Ramah. Don't bring down the sheet of the Rashba at all. The Alter Rebbe himself brings it down as a fact without even saying it's like a yesh oim, a certain day. This is the fact. Up until Sivav, we don't know that we don't know of anything. We don't know of a minority opinion. There is only one fact. You're not allowed to give an Isser Rabban. However, in Sivav, the Alter Rebbe brings down the Rashba, which is quoted in short by the Magen Avraham, that the Rashba held that by Isser Rabbanan Chazal were makel with the Isser Lois Achilum. How far were they makel? They were makel when there is a tzorich for the child. The child does have a tzorich for it, then you're allowed to give it to the child over Isser Rabbanan.
How do you?
However, it's only when you don't have a goy who can do it. If you have a goy, the goy should feed him the child the chalavakum. The goy should feed the bishalakum, whatever is asim midrabanan, or do the other malacha with him. If you don't have a goy available, then the child himself can do it. Another child can feed him. You can ask another child to feed him, someone else. And by the way, if the father's not allowed to have, if the child is a gil chinuch, and the father's around, he says stop him, because he's a gil chinuch. He has to mechanech his child. But if the father's not around, then you can rely on this. Or if the father is around, but the child is below the age of chinuch, so then the only issa that would apply would be the issa of leisachilim. Now, so Alter Rebbe says we could rely in the times of tzorich, we could rely on the Rashba. Then he goes on further and says the Rashba's makel not only when it's tzorich of the Chinuch, even if it's a tzorich for the gadol. We need him to do an issa midrabanan for our sake. Like, for example, to drink before a kiddush, an issa midrabanan of drinking before a kiddush, to ima koidim kiddush. We're allowed to have the child do it for the kiddush ve'isa knesset, so she makes shouldn't be a bracha levatala. Only two things you have to make sure. When you want the child to do something for the gadol, you need two aterim. It has to be only on a temporary basis by a kroi, not constantly. Number two, it has to be a tzorich mitzvah, or a tzorich gadol, just like when you have a guy doing something for you in issa midrabanan. Shvos to shvos, one telling a guy to do something is a issa midrabanan. And you have to tell the guy to do an issa midrabanan, it's a shvos de shvos. The makkah mitzvah, marchum tzorich gadol's mutter. Same thing with the child. Telling a child to do an issa midrabanan is only issa midrabanan. You're telling the child to do an issa midrabanan, it's a shvos to shvos, but makkah mitzvah. Sivches. Kol davar shumishum chinuch mitzvah mutar lispei yisviyadayim. Anything which you're doing for chinuch purposes, even if it's asur, but this is the way you're mechanechim, it's okay. It's okay if he's over on an isser, if this is the way you're mechanechim. For example, we know the carbon pesach, when the carbon pesach is brought, it has to be eaten only for those that were manui, there was minuyim on the carbon pesach. You had to be appointed. Everyone had to point themselves to a specific carbon pesach. It's called registry, a minui. And only those that were mine on the carbon pesach before that was shechted can eat it. A pesach in nechal the menuyav. Say it in the karbanis in the morning. Only nechal to those that were registered, that were appointed to eat on this carbon. Now, what happens if you have a cotton? A cotton, he's not b'chal shaychus to minui. He's not, only an adult could do minui. Some shittas hold that he minui could be a bad cotton, but we hold halacha that there's no shaychus of a cotton being part of it, only adults. So if he can't be part of it, how can he partake of the carbon pesach? Halacha is the father's allowed to give the child a piece of the carbon pesach, mechanech him to eat the carbon pesach, even though he cannot be part of the minui and the carbon pesach. So he's api halacha.
Technically, he has no way of getting in.
It's pashat aser. Still in all, hayosis for chinuch is allowed. Let's read inside. Kol davar shumashim chinuch mitzvah motel lispei yisviyadayim. You can actually feed him the iser. Kin lahachil pesach lekotin shigil lechinuch. Even though the cotton was not pointed onto the Pesach, because he can't be.
And this is the Raisa.
Right? Then this is the Raisa. Ve'ine Pesach nechel menuya, api midiraisa min hatoira.
Wow.
The carbon Pesach is only in the menuya. Afa pikein kivin shemiskaven l'chafar mitzvahs. His kavana is not to feed him an isser. His kavana is to be mechanechem in mitzvahs. It's mutter. The big shail over here is a tremendous chiddush, because you're saying here, chinuch is a mitzvah midrabanan. The issa leisachilim is min haTorah. The issa of eating out the Pesach has to be deraisa. How could you have a chinuch mitzvah midrabanan pushed away?
It's an interesting.
I don't know the answer, but there's a number of achronim that discuss it. I saw.
It says over here, looking at the sichas, maybe they ever speak about it.
Yeah, and the sikha that over there just it sends you to a few references to it.
Oh.
But the sikha, by the way, over there discusses a little bit pshat over here, that the Alter Rebbe, even though you could read the words over here that a cotton maybe could be part of the minui, could be eligible for minui.
But it could be one of
Right.
the people.
So you can learn the Alter Rebbe simple at face value. The Alter Rebbe is saying that he could be part of it, just the father did not put him on it. He did not appoint him.
That's
That was the mistake of the
deal.
father
That's
that he
a deal.
didn't do it. But the Alter Rebbe does not learn that way. He learns that pshat in this line is that the Alter Rebbe is saying is that the cotton is not shaykhis to be able to be part of it. He's not able to
He can't.
register. He can't.
the
It's
shita
not
is he
pshat.
cannot.
Pshat he could, just the father didn't do it, and now he wants to feed him from the
Even if you
cotton
want to call the he can't.
business. He can't. That's it. Well, the Maises of Akiva Eger and other Achreinim are working hard to explain this. How can he be doicha on Isim and Torah? I did not look into it yet to know what the Hasbara is, how you can be doicha this in Torah.
I don't remember. Can women be minuyim or minuyot?
Yeah.
It's for the family. It's a family. It's a
Everyone
family.
has to be part of it.
Yeah. Cotton has a technical.
That's the only mitzvah has 4 requirements. That's the only mitzvah has 4 requirements. Minuyav, tzli esh, before chatzot. There are 4 different things that if you don't do it, you're not mekayim the mitzvah.
The only mitzvah that has full requirements.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
I don't think you have more.
Maybe in Karbanas.
So the 30 people you need for the seder.
You have to invite them. You know exactly
you
have
can,
to.
you can count women also.
For the Seder? You don't need a minion.
No, for the corporate council.
Yeah. They can be made on the current base.
The only thing I could think is
You
that
have 30
for
people.
because the
30
cotton,
people.
even though it's not high, but you have a chiyuv to mechanech, and that when it will be big, he's gonna have to do it.
What does it say in the Torah?
You could push the rice.
No.
I used to have 60 people in the set.
You have the rice, and you have a svora to say not to do it, and then you have a chinuch, a chiyuv, a chinuch. So the chiyuv of chinuch pushing the other one.
Right. The Shail Chinuch is only to the Rabbanan. So
Right. So, but
To work it out.
it's in order to get the rice mitzvah.
Okay, let's finish up. So the Maise,
I saw you today. It's
mitzvah, aber mitzvah sheshai b'chinuch. If it's a mitzvah which is not shaykhis to chinuch, then shelo yuchol asayis k'shiyigdal. He's not going to be able to do it when he's older. Shizau ikar tam chinuch. That's the whole inyan of chinuch. Kegoyin lahat imay mikoy shemil b'mekipporim. You make a bris meal on Yom Kippur. We spoke about this a while ago,
We'll
but
drink the wine, yeah.
who's going to drink the kois when there's a bris meal on Yom Kippur? You don't want the bracha should seem like it's levatola.
And you can't give it to the baby.
Mitzvah, even though it's a tzorich mitzvah, you can't give it to the cotton. Since he's going to become an adult, it's going to become usher for him to drink. And maybe he will get used to it. Maybe he will drink it when he's older. So therefore, since there's no chinuch over here, there's only going to be mechanechim, because when he's going to be older, it's going to be usher. So even though it's a mitzvah, he's helping us do a mitzvah. He's helping to drink the kois mila, the kois berches mila. It's a mitzvah, but it's not chinuch.
Right.
Only for chinuch we're doicha mitzvah, the isav loisachilum. But we're not doicha for a mitzvah. By the way, why is Yom Kippur not mutter? L'chora, it's bakroi. It happens only, when does the bris milah happen in Yom Kippur? It's not something that happens every week. So Yom Kippur is once a year, and even then, not always you have a bris in Yom Kippur. So it's very bakroi. So how come we're concerned over here? It's a very good kasha. It doesn't explain it here.
And the kos shel bracha at the brit milah, that's not from the Talmud.
We mentioned this last time also. I don't remember this. I don't remember the mark. I didn't look it up. I hear you. L'mais, however, the Alter Rebbe says when it comes to drinking on Yom Kippur, which is an Isser Kodesh, we're more machmer. In another place, he explains himself in Hilchos Yom Kippurim that when it comes to Isser Kodesh, we're more machmer. Even though it's bakroi, we don't allow it. Okay. L'chein kol shvos shemutal says the nachitzach mitzvah society de cotton. It has to be bakroi. Okay. Siftaz. Also, litin latinik chagov chai tamei. Lischuk boy. If you want it, it's also to give a child a live grasshopper, which is from the grasshoppers that you're not allowed to eat.
Temanim eat.
The Teimanim eat.
Depends.
Even here in New York?
They know which one, not everything.
Not eat.
He's talking about the one that's not.
The ones, the today ones, Chai Tame,
Tame.
a live one to play with. Listen, they had interesting toys those days. So he wanted to play.
Well, kids today, they grab.
They want to play with a grasshopper. He wants to have a pet.
They come frogs.
He wants to have his pet, and this is one of the ones that you're not allowed. You're not allowed to give it to a child to do it. You're not allowed to give it to our child. Yiddish child, you're not allowed to give him to play with it. Shema Yamas, it's very possible it's going to die after a few minutes of the child playing with it. V'yichlanu, and the child's going to eat it. In those days, they ate grasshoppers, right? V'nimsa machile is b'yadayim. So you fed him an isser. You can't give it to him. Kibin shuhu nasamay isser. You gave him the isser. V'kol shekein davar aser haray la'achle kach. And also, for sure, something which is usher, and it's not alive has to die. For sure, if it's usher and it's right to eat right now. I feel so even if it's also only because it's disgusting, it's about the shak, also you can't give it to him. If his concern is going to eat it.
To the Rabbanon to eat grass?
No, even if the Isser, now he goes further away. After he speaks about something which is also Minatayr, even if the Isser would not, is not Minatayr, it's only about the Shaksu.
What's it? Lice?
Huh?
It's a deraisa, no? What's Balta Shaksu?
About the Shaksu and the Rabban.
No, but which
what would be an
species-
example?
Which species is Balta Shaksu? The Torah talks about flies? No.
Let's say a kosher. I don't remember the example. The Gemara gives an example.
No.
So he's also to eat it because maybe he'll eat it. So even it's the Rabbanon. You're allowed to give him a treifa bird to play with. People don't eat the treifa bird.
A chicken. No,
Yeah.
it's kosher. So
It's
it's not
kosher.
gonna
No,
be
bird is also bigger. You cannot eat it. Chagavim,
Or
it's
maybe it has-
small.
So what does it mean? Over here you're seeing is clarifying, what does it mean, machil b'yadayim? Even if you just give it to him. You don't tell him to eat it. You give it to him, that's also problematic.
Wow.
However, in
You're
Sif
giving it
Yod,
not to eat, you're giving it to play.
in a Chanami,
Still.
Since you know that he's going to kill it and eat it, it's like
That's
feeding it.
considered-
I don't know if it's Isam Deraisa. I think it's Isam Derabanan.
But only Shiratz. If you give him a live bird, he's not going to take a bite out of it.
Even if
So
you
he
kill
said
it,
it
he
Yeah.
wouldn't eat it.
Has feathers. It's
Yeah.
disgusting to take a bite out of.
Yeah.
Grasshopper
Sif
is
Yod.
not very appetizing.
It is. It's protein.
Okay.
Sif Yod.
Protein.
It's not good.
No, they have
However, in
that.
Sif Yod, Al Rebbe differentiates a chiluk, which is not so easy to understand. But you see, in Sif Tes and Yod, we're dealing with now, what constitutes Sifia? We say you're not allowed to feed a tinnik. What does it mean, Sifia? I have to actually stick it in his mouth? So Al Rebbe, no. Even if you don't give it to his mouth, you give it to him. You're giving it to him to play with. That's also usher. I didn't put it in his mouth. That's considered lois achilim. You see, in Shalom we know there's an issa lois achilim. But what does it mean lois achilim? I put it on the table, I put it in his hand, I put it in his mouth.
No, but here, this is one step removed. This is not food at the time. You're giving it to him for a toy. What you're saying is, if you're saying like you put it on the table, that's food. So, but this is not even food. This is another step removed. The intention is that he should not eat it. He should play with it.
I have to look into it, but I think that Sif Tes is only Isam Rabban. It's not an Ishma Deraisa lois
Sounds like,
achilim.
for sure.
But the Maisa is, you learn from here that putting it on the table in front of him, L'mashal Yom Kippur, a child shehigia l'chinuch, tini shehigia l'chinuch, that you're supposed to educate him for hours. M'chanchin l'shois. Like a child is 9 years old, let's say they shouldn't eat for an hour.
Half a day.
They shouldn't eat for an hour. So that hour, the mother should not go. The mother should not go and put food in front of him, because it's issa lois achilim. Even though she just put it on the table, not in his hands, it's an issa lois achilim.
But she's not.
Ain't a chanami, but Chazal or Mechayiv, they made an isser
It's chinuch or no?
after 9 years old. The child
Now
himself,
it's
the
now.
child,
Now it's chinuch because it's not chinuch. He said the mother.
Because you have
He said the mother has nothing to do with it.
it's not her obligation.
The special thing for Yom Kippur.
Just
Special for Yom Kippur.
Okay, if it's so cotton that he can't fast 1 more hour or whatever, then the mother could give him food.
When it comes to sukkah, for example, the mitzvah sukkah, the mother could give food. He's sitting outside the sukkah. She could put a plate of food in front of him.
Yeah.
Now, Sif Yud. Kol zav yisurim acholis. This is all when it comes to food. Also the food. The feeling says a man goyim. Aval mutar litin latinik Shabbos. When it comes to Yisuri Shabbos, it's different. You can give to the child chafetzim, objects sheyochol atzis behem malacha latzmi, which he could do malacha with it. Afil midushi atzis behem. Even if we know, you know he's going to do it. Gan litin latinik uga sheksuv mala oisius. You give to the child a cookie which has on it letters written on it. Also, also you eat the cookie on Shabbos. Some of these biscuits and cookies have letters written on it, cakes. Even the tinnik is for sure going to eat it. Still more, you're allowed to give it to the child. Not in his mouth, given to him in his hands, or in front of him. He does it for himself, for his own pleasure, he's eating it. You don't have to stop him. Actually, eat and God will take you shouldn't give it to his mouth. It's very difficult to understand, but in Sif Tes and Yud, the Alter Rebbe lays down a rule which really he learned out from previous poskim. Alter Rebbe just made it clear. There's a chiluk between Macholis Asuris and Shabbos. Comes to Macholis Asuris, we're more machmir with the din of Sfiyah. That means if I'm not allowed to put it, even if it's not in his mouth, I put it in front of him or I give it into his hands, it's asur. I'm not allowed to give the chogov, the grasshopper, the live tamadik grasshopper, I can't give it into his hands. But the cookie on Shabbos, I could give it into his hands. I know he's going to eat it. You're allowed. What's the difference? Nishklar. It's not clear what's the chiluk between macholis asuris and isuri Shabbos. A different svaras, different places can bring up.
Going back, it's a special thing.
The etzem, the Alter Rebbe learned it out from Magen Avraham and other poskim. But Lamaisa, he's more meiko than a sphere. So, giving the child a cookie, even though eating the cookie in Shabbos is usher, the letters, it's being moichik. However, it's Shabbos. Some people want to say, what's the chilik? Some people say, macholas asuris. The thing itself is usher. Treif, it's usher. The uga is not usher, it's only usher when you eat it.
No, with Shabbos you can eat
When
this
it's
cookie.
eating.
Shabbos you can eat this cookie because there's a letter on it. The cookie is kosher.
Cookie's kosher.
You're just not allowed to eat the Shabbos because
Andere Zogin. Some people say, why should that make a chilik? Who cares whether it's usher be'etzem or it's not usher be'etzem? Still in all, he's going to do a malacha you're going to give it to his hands, he's going to do the malacha on Shabbos. He's going to put the isser into his mouth. What's the chilik? Andre want to say that it's talking about here, you give him something which he could do malacha, but lav dafke, he's going to do malacha. For example, the cookie. The cookie's a big cookie. It has some letters on it. Who said he's going to eat the cookie with the... He could, technically, he doesn't have to eat the whole cookie. He could eat only the parts that don't have the letters. You know he's going to eat the part with the letters. He's going to eat the whole cookie. You know that. But the child himself had an option to not eat it. Mashen give a treif, a piece of treif, every piece of it's treif. So there's no other option. The mice, it's not so clear. You have to be very careful when this din, but tzviya, what's considered giving to a child. We know the Gemara in Shabbos says that there was someone lost their keys on Shabbos, the keys to the shul, and they went to one of the Meroim, and the Meroim said that what you should do is
bring the child.
Take some children on a walk nearby, and they'll see the keys and pick it up. So, they didn't. We're not talking about we're talking about the pachish, less than the age of chinuch. The age of chinuch, the father has to stop. Less than the age of chinuch, and you bring them around. The child sees keys, they pick up keys. The child's not doing it for you, even though it's ism and Torah. The child's cutting oichol nevelis, ain bezin so nafisha. We see him doing it. So, but you brought him next to it. How are you allowed to bring him next to it? Obviously, bringing next to him walking in that area is not considered giving it to him in his hands and putting it on the table in front of him. It's a little further removed. So that's it. You have to understand what is considered tzfiyah and what's not considered tzfiyah.
But I don't understand.
Let's finish off one last sif. We're going to go to
with the key, it's also Torah Tzibur. There are 30 people waiting outside, no key.
But it's Isim in HaTorah. Isim in HaTorah, lo yisach kilim. Sorry, you're davening at home.
It's a problem.
Maybe get a guy to do it, but
Look,
the guy is easier. There's more
Ben
hatarim for the guy to do it than for the child to do it.
should live an esrog is the oraisa, right? And you say Shabbos, you don't do it. Why? Because
Let's do the last sif. Sif Yud Aleph. Katan shehika avi ve'over shalavedis bekatnusay. A child that hits his father or other avedis when he was a child. Afopi she'eni tzarech tshuva. Even he doesn't need tshuva k'shigda when he grows older. Mikama k'sol toiv lo, it's better for him she'ikabel ha'atzmei zidover the tshuva l'kapara. He should accept upon himself something as a tshuva and a kapara. Afopi she'over koidim shenasa barainshin. Lean davar shemam, and if he stole something, took some, or damaged, that will be discussed in Choshe Mishpat. What should be done?
every child hit his father when he was little.
No, this is
Not
real,
very little. It's
This is
also
a
when, he,
real hit. This is like with intention to really hurt. Like a
when
real,
he's older. When
You
he's
want something
older.
your father don't give you, you kick him. It's a normal thing. It's
Yeah,
every
but
baby
that's not what he means.
In our generation,
Once a child is a gil l'chinuch.
his fathers.
Not a child when he doesn't. When he gil l'chinuch, the child is a gil l'chinuch.
doesn't
The
need
child goes and hits his father, and he remembers it when he's after bar mitzvah. So he should do tshuva.
Hey.
But one second, why?
First, he should do tshuva and everything he did after bar mitzvah. And then don't worry about the tshuva what he did before bar mitzvah.
The
But
father said,
this is for
Baruch Shepetara-
tzaddikim, were machmer on themselves, and they did tshuva and everything before.
Why when the father said Baruch Shepetaranu Ma'onzo Shel Zeh, they have to teach the kid to say, if I made any avera and I hate you, so be mochel me. They have to do it the same time. I think so.
It's a toiv, it's better.
Shkech.
Oh, now we're focusing on his bar mitzvah.